Hi there everybody, Happy New Year! Welcome to 2025. Let's start this video by talking about IELTS preparation. If you are thinking about taking the IELTS test in 2025, this video is a good place to start. It doesn't matter if you want to take the general training or the academic version of IELTS. Keep watching to get a simple idea for your preparation plan in 2025. Here is the basic idea. Just take 100 hours and use those 100 hours to prepare for your IELTS test. I know that 100 hours is quite a lot of time. However, if you do spend 100 hours preparing for IELTS, your results are going to show and you're much more likely to get into that golden score of band 7 or higher. So, stick with me in this video and learn exactly how to get started with an excellent and simple preparation plan. Now, the thing to do once you have decided on taking 100 hours is you need to allocate the time that you're going to spend working on the 4 sections of IELTS. That is the listening, the reading, the writing and the speaking. Here's how I would suggest that you do it. For listening, spend 20 hours. For reading, spend 15 hours. For writing, spend 40 hours. And lastly, to prepare for the speaking section, take 25 hours. The reason I've chosen this kind of distribution between the 4 sections depends on a few factors. If we take listening, for example, many candidates often do get a high score in listening. It's one of their strengths. So if you want to exploit your strengths, it's a good idea to spend a bit more time. Now, with reading progress can be a little bit slow, and to be frank, candidates get a little bit bored with reading, so perhaps it's easier and less of a burden to spend less time on that. Writing I've given the most amount of time for. This is basically because writing is quite complex, especially when we look at the task 1 of academic or general training. There's a lot of strategies and techniques that you need to learn in order to get a good writing score. And because it's complex, you need to spend more time preparing for it. And finally, of course, there is the speaking section. A lot of people say that they worry about their speaking score, so you should spend plenty of time preparing for that as well. That's how to organise your time. Let me just give you a couple of tips on your actual preparation activities. Now, I should say that there are plenty of specific videos in this channel where you can study preparation tips and strategies in much more detail. Here, I just want to give you a few general tips. There are 2 main approaches you can take to your preparation. The first approach is what I call general practice, and the second approach is test practice. For general practice, that means just using and practicing the 4 skills of listening, reading, writing and speaking in a general way. So, for example, with listening, you can listen to some English language podcasts related to your hobbies and interests while you are in the car or on the bus, on the train. If it is reading, maybe you can just pick up a favourite novel in English and enjoy reading an English language novel. For writing, perhaps you could consider just doing some journals. Practice writing in English by writing a journal entry 3 or 4 times a week. And then general practice for speaking in English, of course, will be having chats with friends in English. Of course, if you know some English language speakers, you can just say, well, can I spend 5 minutes, 10 minutes chatting with you in English? And of course, you can also get friends and family to join you in a little English conversation practice. Just make it 5 or 10 minutes. In fact, for all of the general practice activities, don't put it as a big burden on yourself. Try and make it enjoyable. So therefore, keep the time to about 5 or 10 minutes as a practice session. And then the other type of practice is to do test practice. Specific test practice will always make you much better prepared for the IELTS test, and I generally recommend doing 5 practice tests in full before you do the real test. So that is 5 reading tests, 5 listening tests, 5 writing tests, that is 5 task 1s, 5 task 2s, and 5 speaking tests. A tip with practicing speaking tests is that you can put in the questions into AI and get AI to play the questions back if you do not have a friend who wants to kind of act as your examiner. Of course, to do those practice tests, you need to get some practice tests. And I've put up a little download on my website where, if you like, you can download 1 practice test from there. I'll put the link in the description. It is a good idea if you want to invest in one of those Cambridge published books that have old IELTS tests in them. That's quite a good investment too, if you have the money to spend. They're a little bit expensive, but it is probably a good idea to do this. Okay, so that's quick tips and strategies for your IELTS preparation in 2025. Wishing you the best of luck with IELTS. Please let me know in the comments, when are you taking the IELTS test this year? What kind of preparation do you think you will need? And of course, remember to subscribe to the channel. There are plenty of videos I've got planned coming up for this year, and this channel will be a great resource for you if you want to do your best in IELTS. So, thank you very much, and I'll see you in the next one.